Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. 응답하라 여친.
여친. Go to the into the she.
Back to the 경 to the 주. Jane.
Yes.
You finally got to watching Squid Game.
Yes.
So now we can talk about it.
Yes. Season 2. Why did it take so long for that season to come out?
So that's what I'm wondering. One of my main questions was if the show had, I mean, it was a spectacular hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But going in, did they know that? And were they always intending on?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Do you think they were always intending on it? I feel like they had to think about this and then
because remember the reveal at the end, they show Lee Byung-hun?
Oh, that right.
Is that his name?
Lee Byung-hun.
Yeah, Lee Byung-hun. They revealed him at the very end.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like an actor of that caliber wasn't gonna just be left. But
I see.
Yeah, they
the
weren't
front
going to be
man,
brought.
the front
Yeah,
man.
weren't going to be brought in unless obviously they were going to build on the story. However,
Yes.
do you I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Okay. Let's backtrack because
I
there
can't
were
remember
a lot
if they
of
did first drop and then split drop, or did they air the whole thing at once? I don't think they aired the whole thing at once, right?
they did 2 drops in the first season, and there were more. Weren't there more episodes? I thought there were more episodes in the first season than there were in the second.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there were.
Yeah.
So I think
There were at least 10 or something.
So I think. I think it could have ended first season.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been done, but
there would have been a lot of what happened and people left up to interpretation.
Yeah. But I think because the show was such a hit, so I wonder if they went in if this becomes a hit, there's more stories to tell.
Uh-huh.
So I'm curious. I guess I should have read up on it, but
I'm curious too. I should have read.
It could have
read up on that.
I think he went in knowing I have this great story, and because it was such a, I think there's more to tell.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of the, I don't know the inner workings of Netflix, but I don't think it was confirmed that there would be another season at the conclusion of season 1 or when season 1 was dropped. I don't think it was, a certainty.
Yeah.
Confirmed, right? Because I think we heard that news a little bit later.
Right.
That, season 2 is coming.
Yeah.
It was up in the air. I think to your point, I think they wrote it with, if we get renewed, we have an idea where this story would go.
Yeah. I think that the writer of the show is very thoughtful enough. I have this great, brilliant idea, and then as it all came out, I could keep going.
And he wrote this show years ago.
I know. Crazy to think about.
And he had no idea what a hit it was going to be. And now it's the most streamed show ever. The two, I guess the Squid Game franchise on Netflix, which is crazy.
Oh my God, right.
I thought this was obvious, but I guess it wasn't. Bennett, my 10-year-old, asks me the other day, so is Squid Game a Korean show? And I said, yes. And he's like, because there's Korean games on there. And I said, yes. And so he didn't know that. He just thought it was a show on Netflix. And
so that brings up an interesting point. I don't know if this was real or not, but I did hear someone wanted to make an American version of Squid Games.
Wouldn't work.
And I remember thinking, why would you need that? But also, I don't know if it's true. There was definitely a rumor about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm my immediate thought is not just because I'm Korean, but I think it would lose its appeal. One, it's already been done, right?
It's been done.
And the American audience is already so engaged with it. So why would they need a redundant version of it whitewashed?
I think there's a reason why they're so engaged with it. It's something that I don't know. There's let's talk about why it is so Korean at its core.
Yeah.
But widely appealing.
because that concept would be hard to believe being carried out in the U.S., right?
Yes.
And I think you can look at it like, oh, I can see how this could have happened in Korean setting.
Yes, because you're so gosh, there's so many layers, but I was thinking so much. So first season, it was just so novel, right? And they picked the best scene, the 무궁화 꽃이. They picked the best scene for that trailer, that teaser video that auto plays on Netflix.
Well, what are the Americans gonna do? Red light.
It's not gonna work.
Green
it's
light.
Not. But I found the second season I'm watching with so much more intention, like looking into the themes and, and Ben and I are discussing it, like just human behavior and human psychology.
Yeah.
And
I'm really, when I asked you, are you going to watch it? And you're like, maybe. I don't think you had high expectations.
I did not.
Yeah.
I really did not.
And you were impressed.
I was very impressed. I will say I watched it because my mom was watching it after Christmas.
Did mom enjoy?
Yes, I asked her, 재밌어? And she's like, 재밌어. It's fun. So then I was like, okay.
나도 재밌다고 말해줬잖아. I told you it was 재밌어 too. Your mom is more.
You did.
Oh,
no.
I see now, Jane. No. She needed her mom. She believed her mom's.
Okay, but it was being teased on Netflix for a long time, right?
Yes.
And
I love that you're so close to your mom and you trust your mom's opinion.
No, but like, yeah, I'm not one to watch like multiple seasons of something unless I'm super engaged or interested.
Yeah.
And it honestly had been so long since the first season that I had to read synopsis and remind myself like how it ended.
Right.
Like that whole scene about like Lee Byung-hun like doing the face reveal, and I didn't even I was like, oh yeah, because I thought when the creator of the games, the old man, the number one, the old man, like when he died, like I thought that was like the end of it, and and I didn't realize that last episode went into so much of like life post games and all of that. Yeah. So, I mean, I will say it took me a while to get into it, like that first episode, right? Because there was kind of a lead up. Like 2 episodes of like, okay, like when is he going to go back into the games?
Yeah.
But yeah, when he goes back into the games, that's when it starts getting fun.
Yeah.
For me, because before that it was just so dark, like with the Gong-yu scenes.
Ooh, Gong-yu. We've never seen our Gong-yu.
He's such a good actor.
Oh my God, we've never seen Gong-yu act like that.
And I was like, I have never. I know. I was thinking about you because I was like, that's her man.
Oh,
like,
that's my man.
He's showing himself in a different light.
Oh yeah.
When he was playing the Russian roulette and just being this ruthless person.
Gong-yu, you're so good at this.
I know.
Did you see the Gong-yu edit on
no,
TikTok?
I didn't.
It's got 5 million views.
Okay, send it to
like,
me.
Mr. Lover.
Ah.
And there's
send it to me.
It's hot. I was like, these fan edits. Oh, I was like,
they're so good.
I watched it like the million views is from me. I'm like, it's timed so
now we're gonna have
well.
to go to YouTube Shorts for fan edits now.
Don't even tell me that.
I know.
Don't even tell me that.
Let's go. Yeah. Going back
Gong-yu.
to Squid Game. I know.
Ooh.
They did a good job with. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still like.
I know she's like.
I'm still getting like hot flashes about Gong-yu. My man is hot. I've loved that man since
There's
Coffee
some
Prince.
good acting.
He is.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God. He can turn up the crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Beyonce.
The light in his eye.
You want to see crazy? I'll show you crazy.
Yeah,
I loved it.
He does a good crazy.
And I was so happy because I felt like that little cameo in the first season
didn't do him
no,
justice.
I need more.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof.
Right?
Give me a.
It was a good character development for him too, because he's like essentially just a pawn.
Yeah.
But in the first season, he seems so benevolent.
Right.
Mysterious.
And now, I mean, and even so, the scene is pretty small, but he had such an impact.
Yes.
It was, it was a marvel.
It's his, like, he has such good presence that, And that movie I was telling you about, Wonderland, he has a cameo in there too.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar, like mysterious vibes, kind of.
Did you ever watch Train to Busan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was great.
Oh, he was hot there too.
So anyways, we were watching the other Gongyu drama, The Trunk.
Oh, I enjoyed that.
But we switched to Squid Game, so we'll probably go back to The Trunk after. Okay. Yeah. Going back to the games, did you like that they started with the same game and then it was all new games after that?
Yes.
I thought that was very clever.
I like that they stuck with the most iconic game.
Yes, for sure.
That had made such an impression.
And it gives me, strong impression, and then also great for the storyline.
Exactly. Like, what? Like, this is going to happen? How? And it was such a... I was so impressed.
Yeah, Lee Jung-jae's character thinks, okay.
When he's all
I have a chance of... Koro! When he's like, freeze!
움직이지 마세요! 저희 게임 해봤어요! There's apparently, I saw a TikTok of this, that giant doll on display.
Yeah.
And then they played the sounds. And there's a guy who's just walking, right? Did you see this?
No.
He's just walking, and he alone plays that role. And there's someone from the balcony recording this guy because and he's just doing it purely for his own enjoyment to play Lee Jung-jae. I was like, oh my God, if I could have witnessed that, I would die laughing. Can you imagine if you witnessed that? This person recording was like, shaking the camera, and I'm like, this is a life gem. This is what I'm talking about. Life is so unserious in these ways. It's crazy. Like, can you imagine in our time growing up, if you saw in the street someone just like acting out?
Yeah.
Like that's a different world. I think
that's why this show is so clever, because we all get to kind of be in Lee Jung-jae's shoes.
Yeah.
Because we all know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you get to witness like that human behavior of like, this is so...
That's interesting.
Nobody
I
believes
didn't think of it
him.
like that. Yeah,
Nobody believes him, right? And then it's not as... Because it was dark the first season, when the very first game.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, this is really the plot. Like, I can't believe this.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
This time
but now
around,
we know.
We were prepared, and
that's interesting. I didn't think of it in the aspect of like, we are the ones that are like, oh my God, listen to him.
It's that like fourth wall, and you want to tell the people like, hey, you better believe him.
Yeah.
This is really going to happen. And then the voting, I thought the voting was so interesting, how after every game they can vote whether or not they want to leave.
I wanted to rewatch the first season because I don't remember that being emphasized.
No.
Or what, do you remember it being brought up?
I think they only had one chance, or whoever wanted to leave could. Right? And so there were...
I remember it like vaguely, and it maybe brought up one time, and nobody like... sought to say, like, I want to leave, but it has to be majority vote.
Right. But Ki-hoon leaves, right, in the first season. He leaves. Him and then a couple of other players.
Oh, they do leave?
And then they come back. Yeah.
Wow. I need to rewatch the first season. And what do you think about Lee Byung-hun? Like,
oh my gosh! I mean, he is also such a great actor, but such a creep.
He's so good.
He is so good at being crazy.
One of my favorite movies of him is I Saw the Devil.
You told me about this.
Yeah. And he's so good. Even Blake is like,
yeah.
That movie was carried by just the emotions on his face.
Yeah.
He can do so much without saying a word. It's incredible.
I got chills when he shows up in the game as number one.
Yeah.
I got chills.
And it's very thrilling to see him like take control,
right?
But also be so, you know, when they played the games together as a team, like
that was a good sequence. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you watched like the, you know, I remember seeing the scene and feeling like, I wish I was like, oh, I wish I had held on to that scene a little longer, because I do remember thinking, why are they making a moment of this? So there's a scene where he goes back to the front man station and he's drinking.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that scene?
So was this in the first or the first game? During the first game, yes.
And he goes and
Byung-hun is watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember thinking, like I remember thinking, oh, this feels important.
Yes.
Because they show him watching in his room.
Yes.
And he's pouring himself a drink.
Yes.
Later, when they play the game, and he is in control of the spin.
The pengy, the top, yes.
The pengy, right? And I told Adonis, I'm like, oh, he's fucking it up on purpose. Did you think that when you were watching it?
I did not think that.
You didn't think that?
No, I didn't.
You thought that he wouldn't know how to throw that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
you really
but that's
thought he was
interesting.
genuinely trying?
I thought he was genuinely trying.
Really? So I immediately like, oh my God, he's like fucking it up to
that's
play with their nerves. To play with that guy's nerve. You didn't think it.
Yeah, I didn't think it.
Oh.
But I thought I knew that he was going to mess it up. But it didn't
really?
cross my
Why
mind
did you
that
think
thought he was going to be bad at it.
Why?
Because I thought that he was so cocky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. No, I thought
he was so glib about, okay, you know, he let everybody else choose and he's like, okay, I'll do the pengy.
Oh, you mean in that role?
In that role.
Oh,
yeah. And then everybody's like acing it.
So he survived the games himself, right?
Yes.
He's the very like first player to have actually won.
That's what's implied, right?
Yes.
In the first season.
Yeah. So, but you thought that because he was confident, but he was like the last pick, I can handle it. You thought he would suck.
Yeah, I took it at face value, but I see what you're saying, that he's doing it on
immediately
purpose.
thought, oh, he is.
You think he was like endearing himself to like
he was
the players?
Enjoying seeing that the team suffer, especially jung-jae suffer. Because he's like loving watching.
That gives me chills.
Yeah.
But then he saves the tuggy, like he does the last kick.
Yeah. But he is loving watching him squirm, like, and try to be in control, watching someone who's imagine Jane.
Yeah.
Watching
I'm
someone
enjoy
listening
you
to
losing
control. That actually would be the thing for you.
I think you're right.
Well, okay, but to prove my point, one of these other avid watchers was like, okay, let me take you back to that. I can tell you that it was intentional that he was fucking up. Let me take you back to the scene where he was pouring that drink. That scene was to show you that he's left-handed.
Oh.
He pours a drink with his left hand. He does everything in that scene to watch and drink with his left hand. When he's throwing the top, he is throwing with his left or right hand. But for his final throw,
he does it with his left hand.
Isn't that so cool?
So cool. How do people notice that?
I remember thinking this scene is significant. There's more to it, and I was trying. Like I was thinking more like, is there something hidden in that screen? But I remember thinking like, why are they showing me this? Why are they elongated? It's not just for his face. Like there's more to this, and that was it.
What I had questioned. I questioned whether he entered the games after the first game or he was in there from the beginning.
After.
Because I was like, was that Well, that was what I thought initially.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, was that a flashback? Like, is he watching the playback of it?
I think, I can't remember now.
Because initially I was like, okay,
was
he's
flashback.
watching this, and then he's like, oh, this guy thinks he knows like what's going to happen. I'm not going to let him derail my games.
Yeah.
So he slips in.
Yeah. I thought that's what it was. I thought the latter, that he was slipping in.
Okay.
Like, now it's time for me to take the reins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think it was always the intention, maybe. Well, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
That's why
actually,
I was like, maybe he was in there from the beginning.
No. Maybe it was reaction to an action of Lee Jung-jae's.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, Lee Jung-jae's going to, like, he didn't know what his intention was coming in to do this game again.
Mm-hmm.
And once he flushed out, like, oh, he's really going to attempt to, like, save these people.
Mm-hmm.
So let me throw myself in there.
Yeah.
Very, very well thought out.
And then how about in the next game when the merry-go-round, right?
Yeah.
So ruthless when Lee Byung-hun kills the guy in their room.
Yeah. That was... I love that.
And yeah. It's such an interesting study in like
the
human psyche.
Yeah.
Prior to that game, after the 5, like that relay race, you see that moment, Lee Byung-hun, where he's appealing to his teammates, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry. It was my fault. We almost didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lee Jung-jae's character is like, oh, Ki-hoon is like, oh, no, I mean, if it weren't for you saving the Jaegi, we wouldn't have made it. So you actually like saved all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben goes, this is wild that you're seeing the worst of people and the best of people in this life or death situation.
Right.
And at the same time, like the worst person you could imagine, like it is like the devil, like Lee Byung-hun's character, right? He's among them. It's the devil among them, and playing them all as fools.
And you're wondering, like, also what if he couldn't have helped in that, right? And that's why they were the last team to go, because if they didn't actually get through it, they would still be all killed off, and he could just not die because they all know him and slip back into...
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, wow, this is so brilliantly thought out.
It was very...
It's a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, wow, like there will be like papers and studies on
Are you
this
more enthralled
piece of work.
From talking to you now, it seems you're more enthralled with second season.
Definitely.
Really?
Yeah. First season was so
in your face.
It seemed very like indulgent, like very
little,
self-indulgent
like,
of the
graphic
creator, and it made me just ask why. So I think it's great that they continued the story.
I can tell you're more engaged with this season.
They admitted this too, because I was watching interviews. I mean, to tell you that I'm more engaged, I am, because I'm like looking for interviews of the cast and the director. But Lee Jung-jae and the director were talking about how it was more deeply thought out.
Wow.
The continuation, so season 2, season 3, and the themes were more developed, deeper themes.
Yeah.
And so they'd go like the why. Because the first season just really felt very indulgent to me. Just like you know what I mean? And it felt very like unnecessarily graphic and grotesque and made me feel
over
icky.
The top. Mm-hmm.
There was that one episode like with the voyeurism. That episode was just so gross to me. I couldn't watch it, of like, because it was so like meta. Like I'm watching this, like we're watching this about human suffering, and then in there you've put in there that there are these like rich people, like people in power, and they're watching these desperate people play these childish games and killing them off, and it's entertainment. And that was so gross to me because I was like, I'm watching it as entertainment.
That's so fascinating.
I was like, if the season 2 happens, like, you know, I'll decide then.
I didn't think about it like that, but I love that you're, because I see a change in you about this season. Like, I remember you being like, yeah, it's good, but this season you're so more like locked in.
Yeah. Well, and it's also the character development in Ki-hun. He just his reason for being there is different this time. First time is like for
his need for himself, salvation,
right?
Yeah.
And then and it's just so interesting because the difference between him and then we don't know what Lee Byung-hun's story is, but he also won the games.
Yeah.
So he won the games and now he's like, you know, reigning over the games versus this other guy.
Yeah.
Who wins the games.
It's not enough.
And he comes out and he needs salvation.
I can't live with this.
No, he's in hell.
Yeah.
Right? And then
Jane,
so
you
interesting.
love that about this character.
I love
it restored your faith in humanity, I think. Because the first season you kind of hated.
Disgusted. I was disgusted. I was like, who would make this? Who would do this? And then
this season you're like, there's humanity here.
Yeah. And then I was grossed out even like, I mean, we watched it, the reality series that Netflix did. And I was like, that's gross.
It's gross.
But we watched it, right? And like a little bit grossed out at myself. But the second season is better.
Who won that reality show?
I think it was the Phil from the guy from Hawaii. He had like long hair. I think it was him.
God,
he was like a surfer, wasn't he, from Hawaii? Or maybe he was No, it wasn't. It was the Asian. Was it the woman?
It was the Asian woman.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I had it in my mind that it was the Asian woman with the glasses. The ex-Marine, Navy. She was ex-military. She was a veteran.
Yeah.
Was she a veteran?
No, wait.
I think she was a veteran.
I mean, she was a little old Asian lady. She worked for like
immigration.
Yes.
No, border control.
Immigration. She worked for immigration.
Yeah. May.
Oh my God. There's so much, like, I can't even remember.
Yeah. And I found myself conflating, like, the reality series with the
reality series, I do remember feeling
the
it
TV
gross.
show. Yeah. It was gross that they made the show out of that. The reality series out of, a fictional series.
Want me to throw
I am really enjoying season 2.
Theory at you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the front man.
Mm-hmm.
Is a sibling or half or stepbrother.
Okay, so his younger brother.
Yeah, he's the one that's searching
the cop,
for him. Yeah.
Chuno. Is his name Chuno?
You're so good. I'm like getting all these Korean actor names mixed up with their character names, and you've got it like you're so.
Well, it's just like fresh in my mind.
You're so good.
I wanted to watch it last night, but we were like too tired.
You're so good. So they say it's another theory that's thrown out there that I'm like. Remember the scene in where they have extra food and Lee Byung-hun says, "Oh, you can have my milk. I don't drink milk."
Yeah.
Do you remember thinking that's important or at all?
He can't drink plain milk, he said, right? I don't remember thinking.
Apparently in season 1, Double One, the old man says something like, "Oh, you're like my kid. You don't drink milk." So there is theorists out there saying Lee Byung-hun is that old man's son.
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back.
I'm like, if that's true, I love shows that have these little nuggets, even though I was close to finding one and didn't follow through, but like, I love
you don't want the nuggets to be like too obvious, right? You don't.
I love how it just shows me how well thought out it is without, it's a fine line between being gimmicky.
Yes.
And then really, like, I believe
it is very
them.
well done. Yeah.
That and I love, like you said, they're really digging deeper into what is wealth, and what is it like the price of living?
Yeah.
What is living if, and
you see, and I think they do a great job of kind of it's not like you've seen one desperate person, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
Like when they're explaining their rationale for voting to get out of the games or continue it.
Yeah.
They're having discussions like, even if I get out tomorrow, I have no other options.
Yeah.
So I might as well have a fighting chance in here.
Yeah.
You know, what am I going to do with that money? Like that little money, right? It's not going to make an ounce of a difference.
I've come too far, and if I can maybe survive one more, that's how. And I think that's what the concept of living in Korea is different from living in the U.S.
Yeah,
you know, people don't understand the consequences of failing in Korea, like, and the loan sharks. You don't know.
You mean we who are not Korean in Korea, we don't understand.
I think this is the difference. Oh wow, who am I talking about? Well, I understand it.
You understand it,
yeah, because I grew up with parents who left Korea for that reason. You know, in America, there's like, you can rebuild yourself over and over, declare yourself bankrupt. In Korea, when you declare yourself bankrupt, you go to jail. So, and that's the upbringing I had. Parents who lost everything and had loan sharks after them. So watching that is very like life or death.
Yeah.
Like, you understand why someone would be willing to.
Right.
Like, I think an American audience, like, the closest thing we have to that is like Luigi, right?
Yeah.
With the whole insurance killer.
Yes. Right.
But yeah, and another aspect of the show that I love is about Lee Byung-hun, the actor. So he's been in American movies like G.I. Joe, and I think there was even like this something
as
Westerner
Brian
movie.
Lee.
Yeah, he's been here and there.
Yeah,
and it's so. I remember reading another article where he's like, I don't love it here
in America.
Yeah, this you know, because in Korea he's an elite A-list like household name.
Yes,
but here he's like, he gets treated like a no one.
Yeah,
because to them they don't know him by name.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I don't love it here. They don't remember me. They just think I'm that Asian guy. I get mistaken for so and so. And then he's making his rounds doing red carpet with the Squid Games cast, and it was so endearing because he said, I've been lonely, but here to do Squid Games, making these rounds with my friends, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually having fun.
That's awesome.
And I thought, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, you know, someone could also, if you don't, you know how like there's limited roles for Asian actors. So someone who works in the scarcity mindset could be like, it can only be me.
Sure.
But instead, he's like, I'm so glad now I get to enjoy this with my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was so beautiful that he's having this experience and he can enjoy it now, finally, because it's not just him. You know, and
it really is like an ensemble cast because it is about teamwork and kind of like that collective mindset.
Yeah.
Which I think that's why it wouldn't play well if they try to make an American remake of it.
Also fucking disrespectful. Like, why would you think that you need that?
Right.
And I'm so sick and tired of like American TV like rebooting everything or movies. Everything's a reboot.
And the thing is, it's unnecessary. With streaming and Netflix, it's really unnecessary.
Right.
Because just appreciate it for what it is in its original
form.
This
is how
you don't have to bring it because it is already like overseas and reaching at its launch people are watching it across the world at the same time. So
and
you don't need that.
And this is how you broaden your, cultural perspective.
Yeah. It's wild to me that, okay, so we had multicultural night last night. And
that happened.
Yeah, it did happen because it got rescheduled from November when there was a really bad stomach bug going on. So it was rescheduled. It happened last night.
Did you make kimbap again? Oh, I wish I could have teleported your kimbap to myself.
I was smart this time and I ordered it. I ordered it from Namdaemun and I picked it up. But we did an activity too, and we did dakji. But this was before, we had prepared this back in November. It was before Squid Game.
Yeah.
But Squid Game was the point of reference that they were like, oh, is this the thing in Squid Game? Bennett was like very bothered by that because he was like, are we doing an activity that was in Squid Game? Because he hated the plot of the first season. When granted, he was a couple years younger.
Actually, even my kids are like, I know Squid Game is violent.
Yes. Yeah. When I told him what the plot is, he cried because he could not imagine. Like, what do you mean they die? What do you mean? And I'm like, it's just a TV show. It's just a TV show. But the idea, he was like, this is like, I feel like I did kill some of his innocence by telling him because he was just like, he was flabbergasted.
And is he being the voice of reason to you parents? Like, are we bringing a game from that violent graphic show?
But then I had to be like, I'm sorry, that this is a game, okay? It's a traditional Korean game, and it was this
before Squid Game.
I was like, last year we did Chegi Chuggy. You want to do that? That was also in Squid Game.
Wow, Jane!
I'm telling you.
So then what happened?
So we did.
I'm surprised no parent objected to this.
No, and I said, this is how you play it. And then if you don't do it in 5 minutes, you die. No, I didn't say that.
And let's shoot them with, paintballs.
They were like, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's a Korean game called dakji. Do you know Squid Game? I didn't say that to little kids.
Of course.
Only to the parents.
Dang, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But all that to say, it's funny because like prior to shows like TV shows like Squid Game, the only exposure that if you're not Korean would have to traditional games is like at a school multicultural night.
Right.
I mean, what's the impact of that, right? Versus now everyone knows.
How did it go?
It went well.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. But
how much kimbap did you order?
I ordered 50 packs, so like 100
all gone?
Mostly gone.
Nice.
Mostly gone. Yeah.
Your kimbap tastes better. Yours is so good.
I just didn't
Jane
have,
knows
I didn't have
how
the
to
energy.
wrap those babies
I did
up.
not have the energy, but
yeah,
the Namdaemun one is
I'm
good.
proud of yourself. I'm proud of you.
I know.
Like, because control. You're like, I know how to make this like
and
the
when
back
I went
of
to
my
go,
hand.
When I went to go pick it up, I put in another order for another event, which I was contemplating, do I make it or do I? Ben was like, you better not. He's like, you better call them and order it. Which I enjoy making it.
I know. But it's like, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And I don't have like, practically my rice cooker is not big.
Yeah.
Like it's like a 5-cup rice cooker. So I would have to make the rice in batches and it's not practical. But,
how many rolls had you made before?
I made about 20. So half that, right?
Yeah, but yours are bigger.
They're bigger.
Yeah.
Yes.
And more filling.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but my goodness, like what it's so we didn't even talk about T.O.P being in Squid Game. He's entertaining.
I loved
T.O.P
was my favorite Big Bang member. And G-Dragon, but T.O.P had my heart with this deep voice.
He's
you remember, did you ever watch Iris?
You know what?
He was in Iris. And he was hot.
T.O.P was in Iris?
I think maybe there were two.
Wasn't byung-hun in Iris?
Yes, the first one.
Okay.
And then T.O.P, I mean, he wasn't a main character.
Okay,
he was like a side character, but it was like the hot spy.
I don't think I watched all of it, but I think I probably watched like a little bit of the first one.
T.O.P. in my opinion, the best man to wear eyeliner in Korea.
Yeah.
He makes it look so good.
Mm-hmm.
Hottie. I can't believe they banished him for like 9 years for weed. But isn't it crazy that he chose this role? I'm like, everybody's like, wait, you were ashamed and then you played this?
He's like, I'm not ashamed.
Like, isn't this just you? But he did it so well.
He did do it really
well. The director
well.
was blown away by his performance and his
That's
dedication.
awesome.
And
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if this means that
maybe Koreans are learning that people, can have second chances.
I don't know, Jane, because remember the other thing I told you about, the other controversy with that guy sharing the porn squirt games?
Oh, right. Oh, Park Sung-hoon, his character is so, he did a great job. Too.
Do you want to hear his excuse?
What is his excuse?
That someone brought up this concerning porn that was circulating, and he thought he was sending it to someone to put a stop to it.
Oh, no, I didn't know that part. You just said that he didn't know he was posting it on his social media.
He was on a meeting, and he doesn't know how it happened, but he was trying to his attempt was to send it to the people to put a stop to it. I was like, bro. Yeah. But he can't admit that it was funny.
No, he can't.
And that's what I mean, like the Korean public.
Yeah.
Like T.O.P, I don't know. I don't think this means T.O.P will have a resurgence in his career in Korea. Maybe in the U.S.
But maybe he doesn't need to, because you can do all the work in Korea. All the stuff is going to be on Netflix. No?
Oh, in Squid Games.
Yeah.
But following Squid Games.
Games. Well, he can do other work like that. I don't know.
But he was good.
He was really good.
So perfect. He played crazy really well.
Have you heard anything about the reception in Korea? With
no,
the
have you?
Season? I haven't. No.
So the first season, they said that Koreans were like, whatever. Whereas American audience was like blown away. But I feel like this is like it's like when people discover BTS and they thought that's K-pop, right? But Koreans are like, we've been doing this forever, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember the first season, Korean people were like, it's just a show. I don't know about the second season, but what do you think?
I don't know. Yeah, it is a show, but it's different than any other show that Korean show that we've seen.
There's such a weird gap between Koreans in Korea and us Korean Americans.
Right. Because it's like the shows that are like popular in Korea, like My Liberation Notes.
Yeah, that would not.
No.
That's a very
I finished
niche.
it, but it's very niche. It's
personally, one of my favorites. However, that could not.
Yeah. Like
Korea's taste. Queen of Tears was popular.
Sure.
But there's that like in-depth layer that's a little different. But I also think like they just don't understand what this means for us to have this kind of representation, admiration.
Right.
Not only for just being shown on TV, but the appreciation for like this is what can happen if you have Korean writers or Korean written shows or cultural exchanges.
Right.
That I think, you live with this, but as Korean American, when we also grew up with it, but like to have the appreciation in mass media in our Korean American existence, like they will never know what that means.
No.
And I think, but they always like to put it as if we're like, oh, you Americans, you don't know any better and you think this is like so cool. Yeah. It's just like that whole like, you know nothing. And I'm like, you wouldn't know what it's like here.
No, they don't.
You think everything is just like, simple and all comes easy. It's not. Yeah. Anyways, we could talk forever on and about that, but I am really, it too exceeded my expectations. I'm so impressed with the writing. Yeah. I'm so glad that they've like, I love when you can get into more the deeper layers.
Yes. And just the psychology of everyone, of every player's individual stories. You got more of that in the second season.
Yeah.
And when have you ever more complex.
A second season do
better or build upon the first season.
Because my biggest fear was like, ugh, they're just gonna ride the wave of the first season. I hate the second season curse when it should have been done.
Penthouse.
Oh my God.
Which was like,
Penthouse is a great example.
I really enjoyed
the first season was phenomenal.
It was amazing. And then
by the time everybody died and came back alive, you're like, okay, that's enough. Yeah. We're going to have to wrap it up now.
It's a little far-fetched.
Like now it's... No. Now it's, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think I could even go through second season, but third season?
Yes, third is when I stopped. We did ffinish second season.
Yeah. Second season?
But I wanted to see it conclude. I was like, I need the resolution.
시작한 걸 끝내야지.
Yes.
You gotta finish what you start.
But we'll see in season 3 Squid Game, like how they wrap it up.
But don't you think it's not season 3, it's just a continuation and they split it?
Oh,
I hated that they call it season 3.
Yes, I mean, they're
like,
calling
you've already filmed it. You're just holding it hostage.
Yes.
However,
so I will like to see how it
I like that they're digesting it and letting it simmer.
Sure.
Because it's true, like, the binge culture makes you just consume it all too fast. So I do enjoy the break, but I wish they would just have called it, like, part 2 of season 2.
Yeah.
Be honest. Like, you didn't film all. It wasn't a whole whatever. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
We love it. well, what is it, February or March?
Oh, is it coming that soon?
Yeah, I think I heard February or March. Maybe March. Okay. Maybe March 25th or something.
Exciting. Okay, well then that is like a second drop.
Exactly.
Second part
Which
drop.
I think that's a nice time gap.
Yes.
That's great. Bring it on.
Leave it at that.
But are you going to watch Singles Inferno?
Oh, when are they coming out?
Soon.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to. Because we have to talk about it.
Do we?
No.
Okay. All right.